Hi, today is Monday, February 15th. Hope you had a happy Valentine's Day. This is part one of embracing God through friendship. And these 5 days of this week, I'm going to talk about friendship out of the book of John, because John was a special friend to Jesus while he was here on earth. Well, let's talk about your first friend and my first friend. My first friend that I can remember, his name was Kenny Kilgore. This was in Mahia, Texas. Mahia is in central Texas, and a little town. My dad pastored a church there. I think they moved there when I was about 1 year of age. We moved when I was 6. And Kenny was the neighbor that lived down the street that we were good friends. Kenny taught me my first dirty word. My mom heard it. That was my first experience to have my mouth washed out with soap. Can you believe that parents used to do that? That was a normal way of disciplining. It worked. She never heard me say a bad word again, I don't think. I said some more, but I made sure she did not hear it because that soap did not taste very good. But he was a fun friend. I remember him because he was my first friend. And we ran around the neighborhood. That's back in the day where kids were safe to run the streets, ride your bikes, go to each other's houses. So it was a great experience. So I want you to text in if you remember the name of your first friend. Who is your first friend? I'd be interested to hear who that is and see how many of you remember who your first friend was. Well, let's talk about Jesus. Jesus had a friend here on earth, and his name was John, which is my name. I like that. Jesus lived in, some podunk towns, small towns. John was from a small town. Mahia was a small town. Some of you may have never heard of Mahia, Texas, Mexia. If you know the guest model, Anna Nicole Smith, she was from Mahia, Texas, and there's a mental hospital there. So that's about all there is in Mahia, Texas. This is a side note. We moved from Mahia when I was 6 years old, moved down to Corpus Christi. A little suburb of Corpus Christi across the bay is Portland. It was my first day at East Cliff Elementary in Portland, Texas, waiting in line. I remember this like it just happened. Waiting in line, your first day of school, a new school, a little bit nervous. There was a kid behind me, and he started talking to me. He was really nice. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "My hair." He said, "My hair?" Well, it was a country town, and that's the way they said Mahia, Mahair. So at that point is where I began to lose my Texas accent and try to talk a little bit different. So that's my side note. But Jesus was from Nazareth. John didn't live too far away from there. They had some of the same background. And Jesus had some special things to say about John. Usually a friendships are seasonal. When you find a friend that is a true friend and can stick with them through the years, that's something special. And that's what Jesus found in John. Jesus was really the best friend of John. John was the best friend of Jesus. And John was the one, the scripture says 5 times in the Bible, the one whom Jesus loved. That's big. It was his friend, his best friend. And let's talk about how we embrace God through friendship. Talking about embracing God, you may think, well, I need to embrace God himself. But the friends that you choose in your life are very important to your relationship with God because they can build you closer to God or they can pull you away from God. John had a good heart, and he was all about the Father. We don't hear stories of John being petulant, causing a lot of trouble, being goofy. He was very supportive of Jesus, very supportive of the ministry. Here's a little bit of history about John the Apostle. John they tried to martyr him. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Martyr him by boiling him alive. It didn't even work. So there was miraculous dealings with John's life. Even Peter and John, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Silver and gold have I none. So he really loved Jesus to the point he was there at the foot of the cross with Jesus' mother Mary, while the other disciples abandoned. So there's a scripture. It's not out of John. This month, this week, I just want you to be in the book of John. Just read the book of John. It's a great book. 1 Corinthians 15:33, Paul wrote this: "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." In your quest of embracing God, make sure the people you align yourself with, I mean, you have to work with people that are not believers. You have to have family time with people who might not be believers, but you get to choose your friends. You get to choose the people who influence you. And the word in 1 Corinthians 15:33, don't be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. You know, you can put a person with good character with some bad character folks, it's going to mess them up over time if they start listening to those people. So, embracing God requires you to have friendships that embrace God also. They don't just embrace you. Remember my friend Kenny Kilgore? Great friend, but he got me in trouble. He corrupted some of the character that my mom and dad were trying to put in me and got my mouth washed out with soap because of it. So I want my friends to uplift Jesus more than they even love me or there for me, that they love Jesus. That's the way to embrace God through friendships. So I just say invest in good friendships. If you don't have good friends right now, good godly friends with good godly character, pray that the Lord would bring them into your life because you need good friends. And I'm sure you're a good friend. Thanks for joining me today. Tomorrow, we're going to move more into part 2 of embracing people as we embrace God through our friendships. And I want you to be a part of it. We're going to talk more about John and his life and how it did impact Jesus even. So thanks for joining me. Have a blessed and prosperous day.